Swiss Family Robinson. The Swiss Family Robinson is a novel by Johann David Wyss. It's a very exciting story. The main characters are a mother and father and their 4 sons, Fritz, Ernest, Jack and Franz. The family decides to travel to a new country to live. They travel on a ship with lots of other people, but there is a big storm. The ship sinks, but the family swims to an island. There aren't any other people on the island, so the family is alone. They take things from the ship, such as clothes and tools, to help them start a new life. The family has lots of adventures on the island, and they learn a lot of important lessons. They find out that the island has everything they need to survive. First, they use wood from the trees to build a house in a tree. When the weather is cold and wet, they move to a cave and make a home there. They grow vegetables and fruit from seeds, and they hunt animals for their meat. They use salt to keep their meat fresh for a long time, so they are never hungry. They cook food on a fire, and they use plants to make paper and clothes. They learn a lot about nature, and they enjoy their life on the island. One day, they have the chance to leave the island and go home to Switzerland. But they decide that the island is their home now. They are happy with their new life, and they don't want to leave.
My name is Tanya, and I'm from Ukraine. I live with my parents, my 2 brothers, and my grandparents. We live on a farm in the country. My mum, dad, and Grandpa work on the farm every day. My grandma looks after the house. I get up early every day. I usually eat bread or pastries for breakfast. Then I walk to school with my brothers. We have lessons from 8 o'clock until 3 o'clock. We always go home for lunch. My grandma usually makes soup and a dish with meat and potatoes. After lunch, I do my homework and I help my grandma. We cook dinner for the family. I love cooking. I go to bed at 9 o'clock, but I usually read a book before I go to sleep.
I'm Hassan, and I live in Cairo, Egypt. I live in an apartment with my parents and my sister. My grandparents and my aunt, uncle and cousins also live in apartments in the same building. I see them every day. My mum wakes me up every morning. I have breakfast with my family. I usually eat bread with cheese or an egg, and I drink some juice. Then I catch the bus to school. I play with my friends before lessons start. We finish school at lunchtime. After school, I go home and I have lunch with my family. Then I watch TV for an hour. I do my homework and I sometimes help my dad with the shopping. My sister helps my mum to clean the house and wash the clothes. In the evening, I have dinner with my family. Then I play computer games. I go to bed at 10 o'clock. I'm always tired after my busy day.
White Fang. The wolf pups are hungry, but their mother can't find enough food. Soon there is only one pup left. He drinks his mother's milk and slowly grows stronger. He is fierce, but he is playful too. When his mother leaves the cave to look for food, he explores the cave, but he is afraid to go outside. However, as he grows older, he wants to find out what the world is like outside the cave. He learns to hide in the long grass or in the bushes. He learns to hunt, and he catches small animals to eat. Other animals try to attack him, but he learns to fight. His mother is proud of him. She can see that he is becoming a great wolf. One day, while the young wolf is exploring, he comes to a village. He sees a group of men, and he is afraid. One of the men tries to pick him up. The pup growls and shows his sharp white teeth. The men laugh. "Look at those teeth," they say. "Let's call him White Fang." Another man tries to pick White Fang up, but White Fang bites the man's hand. The man hits White Fang, and White Fang cries. His mother hears him and comes to find him. When she sees the men, she lies down on the ground. She respects humans. A man decides to keep White Fang and his mother. At first, White Fang wants to escape. But the man feeds White Fang and gives him a dry place to sleep. When other dogs try to attack White Fang, the man chases them away. "Men can protect me and care for me," White Fang thinks. "It is difficult to be a wolf, but it is easy to be a dog."
Tiger Territory. At San Diego Zoo Safari Park, you can see lots of amazing animals in beautiful natural surroundings. The Tiger Trail is a popular attraction for visitors who want to see Sumatran tigers. You can look through huge glass windows and watch the Sumatran tigers playing and enjoying their habitat. The safari park has lots of trees and plants for the tigers to hide in, and it has lots of things for the tigers to do. Tigers are beautiful, powerful animals. They can run fast, so they need lots of space. The Tiger Trail habitat is huge, so the tigers have lots of space to run. Tigers are very good at climbing trees too. They like lying on branches because they can see a lot from the branches of tall trees. At the Tiger Trail, there are lots of rocks and tall trees for the tigers to climb. You can look up through the glass and see a huge tiger looking down at you. Tigers are members of the cat family. Cats usually hate water, but tigers love it. They are very good swimmers. At the Tiger Trail, there are pools for the tigers to play in. You can watch them playing and swimming in the water. When they are tired, they can relax in the long grass or in special dens. Sumatran tigers are an endangered species. There are only about 400 Sumatran tigers left in the world. They live in forests in Sumatra, Indonesia. People are destroying the forests because they want the land for farming. As a result, many Sumatran tigers don't have a place to live. San Diego Zoo wants to protect Sumatran tigers in the safari park and in the wild. They want people to learn about tigers and try to help them.
Stone soup. Some travellers arrived in a small village one day. They were tired and hungry, but they didn't have any food. They only had a large pot. The travellers asked the villagers for some food, but the villagers didn't trust the travellers, and they didn't want to share their food. The travellers were disappointed, but they had a plan. They filled their pot with water, dropped a large stone into it, and put the pot on a fire in the village square. Then the travellers sat down around the fire and waited. Soon a woman came to the square. "What are you doing?" she asked. "We're making stone soup," said the travellers. "It's very tasty, but we really need some herbs to put in it." "I've got some herbs," said the woman. "Can you give us some of your herbs?" the travellers asked. "Then we will share our soup with you." The woman took a small bunch of fresh herbs from her basket and dropped it into the pot. She sat with the travellers and they talked while they waited for the soup to cook. After a while, a man came to the square. "What are you doing?" he asked. "We're making stone soup," said the travellers. "It's delicious, but we really need some meat to put in it." "I've got some meat," said the man. "Can you give us some of your meat?" the travellers asked. "Then we will share our soup with you." The man put some meat into the pot. Then he sat with the travellers and the woman, and they all talked while they waited for the soup to cook. More villagers came to the square. They all added food to the pot. Soon they were good friends. The pot was full of meat, potatoes, and vegetables, and it smelt wonderful. The travellers and the villagers shared the soup, and they all enjoyed a wonderful meal. My favourite dish.
I'm Mehmet, and I'm from Turkey. Turkish food is delicious, and it's healthy too. We eat a lot of fresh vegetables, like peppers, onions, and aubergines. We also eat a lot of meat, lentils, beans, yogurt, and nuts. In the summer, the weather is very hot, so we often eat light meals with lots of vegetables and fruit. My favourite dish is kebab. It's a traditional Turkish dish, and it's traditional in lots of other countries too. You can have doner kebabs or shish kebabs. A doner kebab is meat cooked in a large block. You cut small pieces of meat from the block and put it in a piece of flat bread called a pita. A shish kebab is pieces of meat cooked on a stick. I usually put some tomatoes, onions, cucumber and yogurt in the pita with my meat. Kebabs are very tasty.
My name's Arisa. I'm from Thailand. At mealtimes, we eat soups, salads, curries and fried dishes. We usually have a dessert too. Some Thai dishes are very spicy. We sometimes have spicy food for breakfast too. I like curry and rice with an egg on top for breakfast. My favourite Thai dish is mango and sticky rice. It's a very sweet dish. You cook the rice with coconut milk and brown sugar. Then you make a sauce with more coconut milk and sugar. You put the rice and some fresh mango on a plate. Then you put some of the sauce on top. You can eat it hot or cold. I often make mango and sticky rice with my grandma. We eat it for dessert, or for a treat on a hot day. It's delicious.
Around the world in 80 days. Phileas Fogg and his assistant, Passepartout, arrived at the station in Bombay just in time to catch the train to Calcutta. The train was quite busy. Fogg and Passepartout sat in a carriage with another man. The man's name was Sir Francis Cromarty. He was English, but he lived in India. He told Fogg many things about the customs, history and people of India as they travelled. Fogg told Sir Francis about his plan to travel around the world in 80 days. "What a strange way to travel," thought Sir Francis. "How can you learn about the world when you race around it in 80 days? After an hour, the train was outside the city, and the men saw fields, villages, farms, forests, mountains and jungles from the train window. Passepartout felt nervous. He wanted Fogg to complete his journey in 80 days, but there was still a long way to go. Passepartout worried every time the train stopped or moved slowly. But Fogg was very calm. He didn't worry at all. At 8 o'clock the next morning, the train stopped in a small village. The conductor walked along the train and called to the passengers. "No more railway! This is the end of the journey." "Where are we?" asked Sir Francis. "Colby," answered the conductor. "We stop here." "But we have tickets to Calcutta," said Sir Francis. "The railway isn't finished," said the conductor. "It doesn't go all the way to Calcutta yet." "Our boat leaves Calcutta in 3 days," said Fogg. "We must find a way to get there." Fogg, Sir Francis and Passepartout went to look for some transport. Fogg and Sir Francis were not lucky, but Passepartout found something. "Look, Mr. Fogg," he said. "It's an elephant. We can ride to Calcutta on an elephant." School transport. Children around the world use lots of different forms of transport to go to school. Bus, train, and even helicopter. How do you go to school?
My name is Diego. I'm 8 years old. I live in a small village in Peru. My village is in the Amazon rainforest. There aren't many roads in the rainforest, so there aren't many cars or buses. Everyone travels by canoe. I go to school by canoe. Every day, a big canoe collects all the children from the villages along the river and takes them to school. There are usually about 40 children in the canoe when it reaches the school. Every morning, I wait near the river for the canoe with my little brother and sister. When the canoe arrives at my village, I help my brother and sister to get into the canoe. It takes about half an hour to get to school. I do my homework on the way to school, and I talk to my friends on the way home.
I'm Haruka, and I'm 9. I'm from Tokyo in Japan. Tokyo is a huge city. My school is a long way from my house, so I travel to school by train every day. Trains are very popular in Japan. Millions of people use trains to get to work and school. The trains in Japan are clean and fast, but they are usually very crowded. I leave home at 7:30 every day. I walk to the train station with my brother. We take 2 trains to Tama Station. The journey takes about 1 hour. It's a long time, but some of my friends travel for 2 hours to get to school. I like my journey to school because I can talk to my brother on the way.
First term at Mallory Towers. First Term at Mallory Towers is the first book in the Mallory Towers series. Enid Blyton wrote the series between 1946 and 1952. Mallory Towers is a boarding school for girls. The girls live there during the school term. There are 6 books in the Mallory Towers series. Each book is about 1 year at the school. The main character in the Mallory Towers stories is Daryl Rivers. In first term at Mallory Towers, Daryl leaves her home to travel to her new school. Daryl is very excited when the taxi arrives to take her and her mother to London. When they arrive at the station, they see lots of other girls in Mallory Towers uniforms on the platform. Daryl feels nervous when she sees all the girls, because she doesn't know any of them. A friendly girl called Alicia Johns shows Daryl what to do. They get onto a special train for Mallory Towers students. Daryl feels lonely when her mother leaves the station, but Alicia makes Daryl feel better. Daryl meets 2 other new students on the train. Their names are Sally and Gwendolyn. By the time the train arrives at Mallory Towers, Daryl has 3 new friends and she is very happy. Daryl likes Mallory Towers. The school looks like a castle. There are 4 boarding houses at the school. Their names are North Tower, South Tower, West Tower, and East Tower. Daryl's boarding house is North Tower, and her house mistress is called Miss Potts. The headmistress is called Miss Grayling. Miss Grayling tells the girls that it is very important to become good, strong women and to help others. Daryl tries hard to be good, but she sometimes makes mistakes. First term at Mallory Towers is a funny, exciting story with interesting characters. The story is full of great adventures and it has a happy ending. It made me want to read more about Daryl and her friends in the other Mallory Towers books. Natalie, aged 9.
Sports Day.
My name's Emma, and I'm from Britain. My favourite day in the school year is Sports Day. Sports Day in Britain is lots of fun. Schools usually have Sports Day in the summer, near the end of the school year, because the weather is warm and sunny then. Children run races and try to win prizes or trophies. There is often a skipping race, a sack race. Children stand in a sack and jump along the racetrack, or a 3-legged race. Children run in pairs with the left leg of one runner strapped to the right leg of the other runner. Children's parents come to watch Sports Day. Sometimes there are races for mums and dads too. Everyone has a great time.
Hi, I'm Takumi. I love Sports Day too. In Japan, we have Sports Day in the autumn or spring because the weather is cooler then. It's too hot to run races in the summer in Japan. We don't have any lessons for a week before Sports Day. We practice our races and events on the school field every day. The teachers always make sure that we drink lots of water because we get hot from all the exercise. There is a big rehearsal on the day before Sports Day to make sure that everything will go well on the actual day. We usually have Sports Day on a Sunday. The school band plays music and we all run races and take part in competitions. It's a wonderful day and we all enjoy it.
The Prince and the Pauper. Tom Canty was a boy from a very poor family. His clothes were old and dirty, and he never had enough food. However, Tom believed that he could have a better life one day. He was clever, and he knew how to read and write. He wanted to get a good job and earn enough money to have a house, clothes, and good food. One day, Tom was outside the palace gates when he saw Prince Edward. Tom stood and watched the prince for a while. The guards tried to send Tom away, but the prince stopped them. The 2 boys were very surprised when they saw each other. They had very different lives, but they looked just the same. They had the same eyes, the same hair, and the same faces. The only thing that was different was their clothes. Prince Edward invited Tom into the palace, and the two boys talked about their lives. Edward had lots of money, fine clothes, jewels, and plenty of food, but he had to stay in the palace and be quiet and good all the time. Tom had nothing, but he could play in the street with other boys and meet lots of interesting people. "I want to be like you," Tom said to Edward. "You are rich, and you can have everything you want." "I want to be like you," Edward said to Tom. "You are free, and you can do everything you want." "Well, you look just like me, and we are the same age," said Edward. "Let's swap clothes. You can stay here, and I can live with your family for a while." Tom thought this was a wonderful idea. The two boys swapped clothes and looked at each other. "We are like twins," Tom laughed. Before Edward left the palace, he hid a wax disc in a suit of armour. Then he left the palace quickly before the guards found the two boys together. Soon, Edward was with Tom's family, but it was not much fun. Tom's father was unkind. He was often angry, and he shouted at Edward all the time. Edward wanted to leave. He ran away and met a soldier called Miles Hendon. He was a kind man, and he looked after Edward. They had lots of adventures together. Edward didn't really like life outside the palace. He saw that life was very difficult for poor people. He decided to be a good king and help the people of England. Meanwhile, Tom was pretending to be the prince. It wasn't easy. He didn't know how to act or what to say to people. At first, people thought the prince was ill because he seemed so different. But Tom was a clever boy, and he learnt quickly. He had lots of good ideas, and he was good at making important decisions. Soon everyone was sure that the prince was well again. Sadly, the king died while Edward was away. Prince Edward was now the King of England. Tom was very worried. He didn't want to be king. Luckily, Edward heard the news and came back to the palace. He arrived just in time. Tom was about to become the King of England. Edward and Tom tried to tell people the truth. "I'm not Prince Edward," said Tom. "I'm Tom Canty." "I'm the real prince," said Edward. "We're sorry we lied. It was only a game." Edward looked poor and dirty, and people didn't believe that he was the real prince. But Edward took the wax disc from the suit of armour and showed it to everyone. The wax disc was the Great Seal of England. Only the true King of England has the Great Seal. So Edward became king, but he remembered his adventures and the lessons he learned when he was with Miles. He was a good king, and he helped the people of England. He made sure that life was better for poor people. Edward and Tom were very good friends, and Tom became a very important man. He was never poor or hungry again.